What if I told you that this hole in this sock might be the reason you will let someone walk all over you next week? We assume self-worth gets built in the big moments. But, well, it doesn't. It gets built or broken down in moments so small you don't even notice them happening. And I'm not joking. I'm a neuroscientist and I'm 5 months into a challenge to try and rewire my brain in a year. And during this challenge, I realized how much the small things in life hold power over us. So in this video, we will climb a ladder of 5 different brain systems. And by the end, you'll understand why nothing in your life is actually small and meaningless. So let's start at the level where your brain doesn't even think it's making a decision. You put on the sock. You feel the hole. It's uncomfortable. But you wear it anyway. Now multiply this by every time you wear a sock with a hole. Many times, right? In the 1960s, a psychologist named Martin Seligman discovered something called learned helplessness. Animals exposed to discomfort that they couldn't escape eventually stopped trying, even when escape became available. For 50 years, that was the theory. Then, in 2016, Seligman himself published an update, but he had it backwards, because he argued that helplessness isn't learned. It's the brain's default. Your brainstem and amygdala drive passivity automatically when discomfort lasts long enough. What's learned is agency, the belief that you can act on what bothers you. And agency only gets built one way, by acting on the small things, getting the results, and therefore getting the feedback. So every day that the sock stays on, your nervous system gets one more rep of the mantra, discomfort exists, I notice it, however, I do nothing, and therefore I am helpless. Now, let's see if you agree with me. Wearing a sock that bothers you all day, every day, that's a small form of mistreating yourself, right? It is not just me who thinks that. And, well, yeah, if you do not agree, I understand. I was one of you not so long ago. So, throughout this video, I want to show you how fluent this brain circuit gets. So, let me tell you this. Last month, my wrist hurt. And it wasn't just a little. I couldn't lift things or open jars in the kitchen. And do you know what my first instinct was? No biggie. Wait it out. Maybe it will solve itself. And you know, this is the same circuit that wore the sock with the hole. And it is also the same circuit that will make you one day delay getting that lump checked, or makes you think that skipping the yearly checkup is saving you time. And then laugh about it in a conversation as if it were a badge. You know what I mean, right? But next is where it stops being just a body thing, because your brain doesn't just feel the sock. As we have established, it files its behavior and logs it. There's a region called the medial prefrontal cortex. It's the part of your brain that lights up whenever you think about yourself. It runs in the background constantly, building a model of who you are based on what you do. When you describe yourself out loud, for example, when you call something, well, no biggie. Or when you say, oh, I just, got lucky. The medial prefrontal cortex encodes this version of yourself. And when you behave toward yourself a certain way, like wearing a sock with a hole, the medial prefrontal cortex files that too as further evidence about you. And the cruel part is that your behavior is more powerful than your logic. Logically, well, we know that we deserve to be treated right. But it is your actions which write your identity. I remember landing a result I'd worked months for. And the first thing out of my mouth when talking about it was, oh, yeah, it was nothing. And then I noticed that the person I was talking to, well, they just gave a half smirk. And I thought sincerely at the moment, at that point in time, I was being humble. But it turns out I was just making myself small to regulate discomfort in others. So the hole in the sock didn't just bother the foot. It got written in a file in the brain that it's okay to enter situations that disregard your feelings. Because, well, no biggie, right? Which is, yeah, exactly why your future starts shrinking. Well, without you noticing. Now, here's the part where the past becomes future. Once your brain has built this file on you, it will start using it as the default. Every decision you make, what to ask for, what to put up with, what you even consider possible, runs through your prefrontal cortex, specifically the lateral prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that evaluates options and selects between them. And it pulls from the file we just talked about to estimate what's appropriate for someone like you. Research on self-concept and decision-making shows people consistently aim lower when their self-model says they should. The aim happens before consciousness sets in. And yeah, you never decide to want less. Our standards are being lowered before we get to see them. Because how many times have you filtered yourself out of a job, reasoning that you are not good enough? And might as well beat life to the punch and just not apply. So in a way, the hole in the sock is a vote in an election about your future and the way you see yourself and the world around you. And once your filter is set, other people start picking the signal up. Because we tend to think that the way you treat yourself is private. But actually it is being broadcasted. Think about the friend who betrayed your confidence, but you still gave them a second chance based on a lame excuse. Or that coworker, the one who took credit for your work and then called you selfish when you mentioned it. And the crazy thing is that a part of you still second-guessed yourself. Familiar? So here's the thing about neuroscience. Humans are extraordinary readers of status signals, like posture and tone, where you place yourself in a room, what you laugh off and what you don't. We pick this up through the mirror neuron system and rapid pattern recognition, happening below conscious awareness. People around you read your self-treatment, and unfortunately they calibrate to it. And the sock and this are in a way in the same circuit. And this is why people who get treated worse often have the kindest descriptions of themselves. They often confuse self-erasure with grace. And yeah, you guessed it, this can get worse. Because now zoom out and watch what these four rungs are doing to each other. Because the signal trains the ledger and the ledger sets the filter. The filter creates behaviors and finally behaviors are broadcasted, which is then returned to you in how other people respond to you. And this becomes a new signal that feeds the loop from the start. And every time the loop is activated, the more ingrained it becomes in your system. There's a principle in neuroscience, and yeah, I'm sure you've heard of it already. And that is that neurons that fire together, wire together. And after years or even decades running this loop, this behavior becomes a default. And often this is why people say, I don't know how I got here. There was no single obvious decision. There were 10,000 side ones, all reinforcing each other. So the moral of the story is that the big things are what small things grow into when nobody takes action to stop them. So remember this, next time you see a hole in a sock. And if this is landing as, oh God, this is everything I do, and you are still here, good for you, because recognition is the first step. And if you now realize that you would like to take action but have no idea where to start, well, for you, I have built a free brain rewiring starter quiz to help you with that. It takes under 2 minutes to complete, and well, the link will be somewhere in the description. The same 5 steps that built the helplessness can build the opposite. You can train agency as long as you are aware of the signals that are keeping you small. And this is why the just be more confident doesn't work. Because you cannot rewire a deep circuit by fixing the surface level symptoms. You need to start where it started, from the small, ordinary daily moments. So if the sock is where it started, then the sock is where the rewiring starts. So fix the sock or just trash it. And start taking up more space in life and make sure that you are not settling in discomfort. Once you start this, you will sometimes fall back to old habits. It is inevitable. But if you start practicing to listen to your body and your feelings, you will be on the right track to start tweaking first the small things and eventually the bigger ones. So for once, take the bigger portion when you want it. Or just take those extra 5 minutes in the bathroom on a chaotic day. Or you can also look out the window for 10 minutes with your morning coffee and let your brain notice the trees, the people, the lampposts, the grass. The circuit learns through repetition and not intensity. So, this will take time and you can't expect to fix a decade in an afternoon. But you can hand your brain its first piece of new evidence this weekend, like that sock in the dryer. So, your brain is always watching. The only question is, what evidence are you providing it? Did you know that your negative self-talk is keeping you small? So, while trashing all those socks with holes from your closet, well, you might as well watch this video next. And with this, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!